Okay. My introduction of praise song, God Give Me, is Let the River Flow. In that harbor of His Word, before He actually reached in to save me, I was like that man in the desert, that Janice's picture of the oasis of the man crawling through the desert. I was so dry and just all looking for a refuge, an oasis. In that desert, I found refuge. Psalm 48, I waited patiently for the Lord, and He inclined to me, and He heard my cry. He also brought me up out of a horrible pit, out of a miry clay, and set my feet upon the rock, and established my steps. A rock higher grounds than the Liberty Rock, but on this rock freedom rings. He put this new song in my mouth, praise to our God. Many will see it and fear and will trust in the Lord. In that Psalm 48, he begins this prayer, the psalmist of David. Deliver me from my transgressions. Do not make me the reproach of the foolish. I was mute. I did not open my mouth. You go on down. My ears you have opened. I delight to do your will, my God. Because I had ears that heard not. And I had, I was walking dead. I had ears that heard not, eyes that saw, but understood not. I cried out for the Lord to help, where I was being held by my own imprisonment. Little by little, it robbed me of a lot. I called forth restoration now. Restoration, praise God. We sing holy, holy, holy. I want to see you high and lifted up, shining the light of glory. And in that light of glory, like this guy here, he's got his hands in his pocket on this lighthouse all throughout the storms, because Jesus is the storm. I mean, he's a refuge in the storm. You know, He calms the storms. He sets ourselves. He sets it at a cool place on that rock. He just calms those storms. He give me water, living water in the desert where there wasn't any water, because God is a good shepherd. He breaks those yokes that bind you. In Ezekiel 34:25, He made a covenant of peace. He gave me showers of blessing. In Psalm 23, He led me beside still waters. He stilled those waters. In Ezekiel, God's this good shepherd, and there was some other sheep that was traipsing down the stream, murking up the water, making it murray and yucky and junky. And God said, that's not good, because they're having to drink dirty water. I'm going to give you a covenant of peace, give you a good shepherd, because Jesus is the good shepherd. He made this covenant of peace that caused wild beasts to cease from the land. They dwelled safely in the wilderness, to sleep in the woods. He made them places all around them. His hill was a blessing. He will cause showers to come down in their season. There will be showers of blessing in this. When He came to me with that ushering that He wanted to baptize me in the Spirit and come to me, He sent me this bear right here that's a music box during that season. And the song of this bear was Getting to Know You Better. And then later on, He sent me this other bear, read a good book, and he has got my steering wheel. Life's good. And when all this started taking place and He tapped into these things, He has brought forth from me living waters, because of the word that He's put in me, because He is the living water, just like the woman at the well in John 4:10 and 13. He asked her for a drink. she gives him a drink, and he tells her, who drinks of this water will never thirst. We're like a lake, we're like a river and an ocean, deep and wide. There's another song, there's a fountain flowing over me, deep and wide. Get a drink of wine, because that water turns into wine too. The finale is, oh, how he loves me. In this deliverance, in this desert that led me to that little creek of water, you know, I get to be the salt, get to go out and salt the world with his goodness, like Epsom salt. It's a healing. He's our healer. I get to be water. Out of me flows this living, healing water, because Christ in me, that's that water that I'll never thirst. Are you thirsty? I can give you a drink of that water. Even in the desert, even as a cactus will give you water in the desert. You know, in 2 Samuel, praise for God's deliverance, all those things that was hindering me and binding me up in my own imprisonment. My enemies that were sent to destroy me. He gave me the shield of his salvation and his gentleness that made me a great warrior for him. He enlarged my path that my feet didn't slip. He delivered me from those enemies. He blessed me. He's my rock. The Lord lives. Blessed be my rock. Let God be exalted. The rock of my salvation. It's God who avenges me and subdues the people under me. He delivers me from those enemies. I'll give him thanks. Oh, how he loves me. How he loves me. He's the light of my world. And you know, he can be the light of your world if you'll just call upon him. He'll give you the light, the salt, the water, and he'll carry you all throughout this journey if you'll just let him. And you know, you can see by his light, you know, see. Shine out that light to everybody else that needs to see in the darkness, and that way he can break the prisoners free, set them free. You don't have to be bound up in imprisonment. You know, we're just like little kids. And on Jake, there's that little pirate, because he's trying to steal the word, and he's trying to anchor you up with all these things of the world that keeps you bound. But God don't want to keep you bound. He wants you to be free, because his yoke is easy. He's our anchor. And if he's our anchor, we don't need to worry about the anchors of the enemy, because he sets us free. But he has to be our pilot, so that life can be good. And if you just ask him, that's it.